Hey, Casey, this is for Casey Pratt, Mayor Tao's Director of Communications and friend. I saw your tweets. I responded to some of them, but I feel this live stream is of the utmost importance to explain to you precisely where Mayor Tao went wrong and what you don't understand. Much of it you can't possibly understand because you didn't live it. So I'll move forward. First of all, let me explain something to you. And I show this photograph because it's part of a KTVU video where Shang had said to a reporter, "You'll have to ask me or contact my office to ask a question." And the way she put it was very cutting. Shang didn't get the memo that in also democratic Oakland, you don't try to govern from an authoritarian perspective. And let's review how Shang has handled herself. Look, in her council office, she tried to make people who were working for her for city council help her and work for her on her mayoral campaign. She punished Leona Powell and ultimately fired her because Leona didn't want to do that. And for a set of reasons, not so much that she didn't believe in Shang, but she had family obligations. Rather than understand that, Shang and Brandon Haramy, Shang's aide, proceeded, and as well as Renia Webb, her chief of staff, proceeded to make Leona's life something next to a living hell. It was wrong. And it was just that Leona filed a complaint with the Oakland Public Ethics Commission, as much as it was unjust that the Ethics Commission did not complete its investigation and take any true punitive action against the mayor. Then, the mayor reportedly and documentedly got her city council mayoral election application in late, but the application was altered to make it look like it was turned in on time. That has been the focus of a court case. There are a number of videos, including here on Zenny62 YouTube, that show it. It is the ultimate dastardly example of someone who's so hungry for power that she would seek assistance from the city clerk's office to get herself in line to obtain it. And who knows what else she's done beyond that. And I'm speaking to the number of allegations that have never been completely investigated. Perhaps one day they will be, but time is fleeting. And then, as mayor, among other things, before she was sworn in, it was leaked to Zenny62 Media, to me, that she planned to make up a story that would lead to the termination of popular Oakland Police Chief Lerone Armstrong. And such folks as Renita herself were saying, well, the Oakland police are following me and they're observing me, and they weren't. They made up all kinds of ridiculous lies and could never focus on the true issue of Lerone. I mean, let's take the whole issue regarding Michael Chung, the now famous or infamous Oakland police officer who, fired off his gun in a service elevator, and then prior to that, in going to pick up his girlfriend, ran into a parked car in a San Francisco parking lot, among other things. Now, that really is essentially minor, but firing a service revolver in an elevator in Oakland headquarters is serious. Someone could have been killed, but he did that. Now, the Oakland Police Officer Department, the Oakland Police Department, handles roughly 1,500 internal affairs complaints annually. The job of the police chief is not to spend his or her time going over those complaints. They're deputy chiefs and people under the deputy chiefs to handle that. There's too many of them. Yet, person after person after person who's been on the side of what Shang was trying to do for reasons that have never been really shared, and I question, have brought up internal affairs as the issue. It shouldn't be the issue, and it proves that they don't understand how the Oakland Police Department works. It also proves that they were mindlessly interested in getting Lalone, perhaps because he was black and popular. I fought for 2 years to get Lalone the job that he had. And while he's running for at-large city council member, and I'm actually supporting and my organization is assisting Charlene Wang, who is his challenger, I still have a great high regard for Lalone. Never stopped. Simple fact of the matter is this: Shang treated Lerone Armstrong inappropriately. She made it her mission to push him out. And the more it was obvious that he was popular, the more Shang tried to push her point. That's authoritarianism. In other words, I don't care what the public wants. What I want matters. That's how she behaved. She came in acting like that, much to the surprise and chagrin of many. And note, she did this in the wake of winning the election by a scant 677 votes. That's it. That's it. And on what, the sixth round of ranked choice voting counts, I believe it was the seventh actually. Okay. And yet, then she says, well, I'm going to unite the city. Shang Thao never attempted to truly unite Oakland. She played Donald Trump tactics of division, coming in while she was mayor and going out, because she's not going to survive this recall election. Now, let's get to the other matters that she was involved in. There was raising the idea of her having a $75,000 raise. $75,000 raise in the middle of what's supposed to be a budget deficit problem, and she raises it. It doesn't matter that she didn't get it. The simple fact of the matter is that she tried to get it and failed and looked bad in the process. Who does that? Her argument was, well, this is what I should be getting now. But the bottom line is that Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf didn't seek it. And if Shang feels that she deserves it, what she should do is simply wait until she's reelected, and then when she's reelected, then get her raise. But do the job of the mayor first. Think about the people that you serve and not about yourself. Shang was consistently thinking about herself. Shang has always tried to put forth this image that she's totally in control and wants all this power and doesn't have enough. And yet that's not what the city of Oakland is about. As I've said to many people, what Shang doesn't understand is that when you become mayor of Oakland, in her case, it's about putting on your Iron Woman suit. It's the city itself. And she takes on the task of city building, which is making sure the city has all that is needed to create a healthy city for its residents. Good schools, safe sidewalks, places of business that are open 24/7, are active and well-funded, schools that are teaching the kids, clean air, clean water, cheap and available food at grocery stores, the ability to grow food if you want to, places where I can simply rest in a park, places where I can go to swim, places where I can go to congregate and eat and party, places where I can worship, places where I can simply just walk or drive, where the pavement is smooth, places where I can watch sports teams, professional, major sports teams that represent my city. Shang didn't get that equation and didn't care to either have people under her stead who could make those objectives real or focus on those objectives. Shang doesn't realize that we had tax increment financing. She had a request, by her request, what she wanted to be a secret, why I don't know, secret meeting with me on February 2nd of 2022, but she was running for mayor, so she could learn about how tax increment financing and enhanced infrastructure financing districts worked and were. And then at the end of that meeting, she gave me homework, but she wasn't going to pay me. Then when I explained to her that that's something I needed to get paid for, she said, I have a consultant. Well, you have a consultant, Shang. Why the heck did you have me in a Zoom room at your request asking me? And then after I said simply, hey, this is something I get paid to do, you then, and Brenda Haramy, your aide, proceeded to ignore my many requests for interviews as a member of the media. So I thought, fine, if you're not going to treat me with the respect that a member of the media is commonly given, guess what? I'm not going to consider even seeking you out to get your opinion on anything because your behavior is most inappropriate. I have been in the public eye in Oakland for over 30 years. And whether you like it or not, I have earned the right to be treated the way that every other elected official and post-elected official and people running for office has treated me. And I'm not concerned with whether or not you like it. It was wrong for you to do that. On October 5th of 2021, you sent a clear message to a number of my friends that you had changed, that you had become, as one of my friends described, a monster. A monster. A power-hungry, ambitious monster. That's the kind of person that is not suitable to be mayor of Oakland. You proved that. The reason why the recall happened wasn't just because it was Seneca Scott that did it. It could have been anyone who correctly pulled that trigger to ignite the electorate against you. The simple fact of the matter is that your behavior was so bad that you literally set the grass around you on fire just by your behavior, and all someone had to do was come over and strike a match. That's all Seneca did. And the rest is history. So the question is, have you learned anything from this? No, because on the months leading up to this election, you sent your staff out, your staff department heads out. And rather than have them take, listening tours to find out what the residents want, you had them dictate to the residents what they were doing and why it was so correct. As there's the popular saying, who does that? Seriously, who does that? Well, Mayor Thao, you did it. Okay? You did it. And it's no wonder that there are people leaving these town halls. No wonder people were believing they were being talked down to and talked to and talked at. That is wrong. It came off like something out of World War II where Hogan's heroes were referring to Nazi Germany. Seriously, it really did. You were taking Oakland to a place where people viewed your behavior as authoritarian. Oakland is not a city that prizes authoritarian leadership. Oakland is a city that prizes leadership that is collaborative, that is communicative, that is transparent, and that is effective. You have not been any of those. The simple fact that you would refer to the KTV report as you did is a minor example of what I'm talking about, a minor one. But the timing was oh so right because you did it without thinking and in the middle of a time when people are, hey, determining your future. And I've already said that basically it's this. Okay? Now, do I say any of these statements with glee? No. I say them because they need to be said. Because they need to be said. And Casey, regarding the San Francisco 49ers, unlike you, I was actually there when my classmate from 1985 to 1987 at the University of California at Berkeley's Department of City and Regional Planning Master's Program was Economic Development Director for the city of the county of San Francisco under then Mayor Willie Brown, and tasked with the objective of building building a stadium, a new one, for the San Francisco 49ers with HOK as architect. A beautiful facility if it were built. What happened simply was that, yes, it was approved, Propositions D and F, but Gavin Newsom, then the mayor of San Francisco, was slow to produce the necessary public money to help pay for the project. And so in a tiff, and not surprisingly, and not only that, I was at the presentation meeting that Jed York gave to members of the San Francisco club organization, found an unused $142 million municipal bond issue and gave it a particular objective, a new stadium for the San Francisco 49ers in Santa Clara. Gavin didn't like it. It was a weird feeling for a number of people who believe the San Francisco 49ers are indeed an organization that should play in San Francisco. It was an unfortunate game changer, and yet the 49ers were retained for the Bay Area rather than moving someplace else. Now, you tried to compare that to Oakland. That was an inappropriate comparison. Why? Because just like the Warriors moving from Oakland to San Francisco, it was in the Bay Area. Now, a number of people believe that the Warriors' move from Oakland to San Francisco was great. Me, I felt the minute that the Warriors were planning it, the city of Oakland should have sued the city of San Francisco and my good friend, the now late Mayor Ed Lee, for economic tampering, which Oakland could have done. Instead, Oakland famously did nothing and let it happen. Oakland did nothing to fight for the Warriors. Oakland did nothing to get the NBA to want to expand to Oakland. And it was clear to me when I interviewed now late David Stern that this is something they planned. David said to me on video, here's Zinni62 on YouTube, the Oakland's just a BART ride away. He said that. In other words, why do I care? Lawsuits? They didn't care. They planned this. And they had the city and county of San Francisco under the direction of the great Ed Lee, hand in glove working with them. This is something they planned for quite some time and beautifully executed it. What you should have been asking, as I was, is where's Oakland's economic development? I've been asking that for years. But hey, did your boss improve the situation? No. We still do not have, Oakland, an economic strategy. Did you know that, Casey? Do you realize that we were supposed to have an economic strategy a year ago this fall, but we didn't? The city put out a request for proposals to do an economic strategy and got no responses, none. So basically it decided to do the economic strategy in-house. That was a year ago. Where is it? Okay, where is it? Oh, and then by the way, how do you expect an organization like the Economic Development Department of Oakland to do an economic strategy when it can't even conduct the basic actions of an economic development department, like, for example, business retention, giving businesses money to stay in Oakland, to be healthy, to survive attacks of crime, or business attraction, going after organizations like the Devil Rays now, or any other organization to come to Oakland with the necessary package to make sure they're able to relocate. Oh, and then by the way, we never activated tax increment financing. Oh, sure. There was the initial plan activated by the previous mayor, Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf, but her staff didn't know what to do and didn't know what they were doing with tax increment financing to get it off the ground. And then they played games with the Oakland Athletics, whose job is not to know tax increment financing. That's the city and the county's job. Those are government legislation. And I'm the person that convinced Dave Cavall that public money could be used. He smartly teamed with State Senator Nancy Skinner to create something called SB 293 Skinner. Then they hired Century Urban, a big mistake because Century Urban, their consultant, thought, well, you know what? There are bond issues outstanding for downtown. They're going to have to pay them off. And so, because of that, they cannot use the full bonding capacity, the full 45 years. That's not true. Because guess what? The downtown redevelopment project area doesn't even include Howard Terminal, and it didn't. So they made a gigantic error. I was trying to tell Lauren Taylor this during the term sheet hearing, and he insisted that he was correct simply because they had the consultant. I said, why? I have 37, now 38 years of experience at tax increment financing calculations, Lauren. I know how to do this, and they're not doing it right. You have a full 45-year bonding period to use it. They only used 20 years, which means they took money off the table for no reason other than their misunderstanding of how to handle a bond issue that was the money of which owed was only $53 million. So if you're looking at getting $1.6 billion, if you do it right, the calculation over a 45-year period for just a $2 billion assessed value at base year, increasing 4% a year, you're done. You screwed up. You can take that money, that 1.6 billion, and pay that 53 million and keep on stepping. But these people didn't get that memo because they didn't know how to do the math. These are the kind of people we have working for the city of Oakland. These are the kind of people we hire because the staff doesn't know tax increment financing. It doesn't know how to recognize when its own consultant is screwing up. And that's what happened. And you want to know the complete justification of what I said? The simple fact that behind closed doors and behind public cover, the city actually had Century Urban make an enhanced infrastructure financing district infrastructure financing plan, a draft version that was incomplete. They gave it to the media. They gave it to The Athletic, which never publicized it, just had it in its database. I found it online. And I went through the calculations and the text where they said, hey, look, we're expecting a $5 billion tax increment financing revenue result. $5 billion. Ooh, which means that, hey, this time they used the entire 45 years, right? Yeah. But you know what they did? They only used an estimate assumption of assessed value of increase of 2%. That's the government allowed 2% by Proposition 13. Do you know what the average rate of growth in assessed value for Alameda County has been for the past roughly 7 years? 6.3%. That means Century Urban left money off the table. They could use a 4% calculation as I did, and I discovered that, hey, look, it should have been $9 billion. Yeah, a $9 billion tax increment financing revenue result. $9 billion with a B, KC, billion. Do you know how much we could have fixed? Hey, you say to me, city has a $175 million budget deficit? $9 billion, dude. We are that stupid. Our city has become that stupid to leave that much money on the table. All right? From a sliver of land that's 55 acres with total build out at $12 billion, which Dave had been saying, and no one bothered to say, well, gee, $12 billion. What's the tax increment revenue from that going to be? One guy did. Me. I calculated 9.7 billion years ago. I even texted Dave the Saturday morning he blurted it out the first time. I said, okay, so what's the tax increment? Why are you putting this out and calling it economic impact when it's not, Dave? Because that's what he did. And yet the city and some of you expect the ACE to know this stuff. And I've told you umpteenth time, it's not their job to know that stuff. It's your job as the city to know it. You guys are screwed up so bad. And yet you don't learn. Shang then went to Seattle to meet the commissioner of baseball to present Howard Terminal. But what did she do? Did she invite California Governor Gavin Newsom? Nope. Did she take her chief administrative officer? Nope. Did she try to go with people who could guarantee the credibility, certainty, and capacity to build a ballpark? No. She took her director of communications, her chief of staff, and her project manager, all professional women, and set them up with these pictures, as if they were preparing for Vogue. How insulting. How insulting. Who does that? Okay. Oh, excuse me. Oakland did it. All right. Oakland did it. Oakland did it. Okay. It was wrong as the day is long. And give you many other examples. Oh, you want to remember the grant issue? The fact that it seems that staff members just don't read. And then people point fingers at each other. You don't know what the real problem is? Oakland workers don't care. How many times have we heard morale is bad? They'd rather be someplace else, basically. And why not? All that comes from this Jerry Brown installed, got the voters to do it, strong mayor system we call Measure X, which gave the mayor the power to hire and fire the chief administrative officer. That's a bad job, because that means that everybody that works under the CAO, they start looking for jobs. Long-term planning, gone. Because everybody's looking for a way out. Give us a break, will you? Your boss blew it. Big time. And has learned nothing from it. It's not about her. And yet all these speeches she gives, she uses the one word, the royal I. Not the royal we, the royal I. Shang should know by now. And you should too, Casey. There's no I in team. The team is the city of Oakland, not her office. Her chief of staff, Lee, had no business talking to Dave Cobble the way she did in this attempt to extort $60 million out of him. Business retention is about making a deal that both the business and the city can live with. It's not about walking in, attempting to verbally bash your would-be partner over the head, and then expecting an outcome that leads to them staying, as opposed to them saying, gee, you know what? I really want to get out of here. And so what? They did. You got the A's out of here, even though they were already out. I said November 21st of 2021, I wrote it. I said the A's should leave for Las Vegas because the city has learned nothing. I have lived this, going all the way back to my Super Bowl project in the year 1999 through 2000. The city doesn't want to jump to any sports organization's tune and say, you know what, we need to act on a timely fashion. Oakland wants to act on Oakland time. Well, guess what? The United States and the world don't have time to wait for Oakland to get its act together. The United States and the world have moved far beyond Oakland. And it's sad. And your boss is partly at fault. Subscribe to Zenny62 on YouTube and bookmark oaklandnewsonline.com.